I'm back here again with another video on Ron's YouTube channel here, where we cover a lot of drone gear and other various tech, somewhat related to drones. But real quickly here, I just want to set like a little parameters here for the video you're about to watch. This is about the DJI Mini 3 Pro, and this is about the two recent firmware updates it received for the RC, the radio controller, better known as the DJI RC, the one with the screen built in, that came out with the Mini 3 Pro in the kit that was widely available when it was first released. But anyhow, I received two recent firmware updates. The first one, I gotta get my notes here. These numbers get you confused. 01.01.0100. And that was the first firmware update. So the first clip you're going to see in this video is me testing that firmware out. That was the firmware that fixed many issues people were having with the app crashing in mid-flight, screens freezing, video stuttering. That all came from a firmware update previous to that. It brought those issues to it. Now, and so this fixed a lot of those issues from an older firmware update. I don't have that number written down here, but and also it for a lot of people it cleared up all the signal and range issues that they were having before. So this was a really good firmware update. It looked like it was a real winner until it created another issue. The little kind of compass radar thing that's in the bottom left-hand corner of your fly app window, it got messed up. Like I think DJI called it the attitude. Most people call it the compass of the radar, where it shows the drone, it shows you as a dot, and it shows like the home point all like a circular radar thing. It wasn't working, where I think it was what wasn't working is you weren't there anymore, which again, you were representing the controller, knew where the controller was, knew where you were. So it broke that, even though it did all those other good things I just mentioned. So then we had another firmware update about a week later, or maybe even the same week. These things come out so fast, who can keep up with them all? But this one was a similar number. 01.01.0300. They skipped the whole series there. I think they went from 100 to 300 if I got my numbers correct. Okay, in the second half of this video, you get to see my test flight of that firmware, which fixed the compass. So you got one video, the first segment, I'm testing the firmware update. I'm just going to say the 0100, and then in the second part, I'm testing the 0300, and of course in that 0300 I only tested compass, because in the previous video I tested everything else and that was all good. So and I said that second one I showed you that the compass is back good again. So anybody's watching, if anybody sees the title and says, oh, there's another update out already. Well, this video contains both of the updates all in one action-packed video for you folks. So let's roll right into this testing of this new firmware. So sit back, get ready, get a snack, get a drink, and enjoy the ride. Hi, welcome back to Ron Brown's YouTube channel, and this is Ron. We're a drone channel here, and we cover other tech, but today is a drone video specifically on the DJI Mini Pro 3 drone. And what we're kind of covering today, we just got some new remote controller firmware for the drone. That's the new controller, the DJI RC controller that came out with the Mini 3. And we had some issues with signal range and even some crashing and stuttering, with the video transmission, whole bunch of issues. But so this firmware update supposedly is the one that fixes it all here. What I'm doing is I'm going to look at some of my safety settings, because supposedly this kind of reset some of your settings back to some factory defaults, but it doesn't seem to be the case here. My max altitude and distance and auto return home all seem to be where I left them at previously. So maybe that's the information I received, but maybe again, so many things with this drone, but some people see, other people don't see. So I'm not seeing a reset of all my settings after the firmware. I mean, sorry, the firmware update for the remote control, which is 01.01.02 I mean 0200, and I'll put that down below because I always get myself tongue twisted there. So let's go. We're gonna go for the first test flight with all this new new remote controller firmware here. We're down here at the beach here in beautiful Margate City. This is what they call a bulkhead here. So I'm gonna take the drone off from the bulkhead here, and I do have the new Start RC landing gear on this drone here too. So this will be the first test flight of that landing gear, and I'll insert like a little picture in here of the drone with the landing gear on here. I'm not kind of running any B-roll today because it's kind of, even though I'm this early in the morning and not that many people are around. I hate to set a B-roll camera because I always got a lot of people walking around here. I don't want anybody like knocking my camera off a tripod or anything like that. So again, you're not going to get any B-roll of me standing here at the shore. So we're going to do a quick takeoff here. This is just letting you know it turns Wi-Fi and Bluetooth off as soon as it gets up in the air. So just make sure you give it enough time for your maps to get cached in before you actually take the drone off, especially if you're in a new location where you don't have that cache information on hand. So here we go up here, and of course, so far it doesn't seem to be any problems at all. But you have to go a little while before you get those signal and range issues. But I really wasn't experienced it to any any big degree. But a lot of people it's a big issue for. So I'm glad to see that DJI is still addressing those issues and so on. And for people like my good friend Marcus Crawford, he saw his app crash, when he would do anything, any type of quick shot modes or active track or anything that would tax the processor. He was getting what could be dangerous app crashes, even though return home should bring it back if you got your home point set correctly. So we're going to test a few of those things out and see make sure all that stuff is now working good on the new firmware. And interestingly, this is just the controller firmware, not an aircraft firmware. We're still on, I believe, I'm going to put it down below rather than read another big number off what aircraft firmware we're on at that point and what app version we're on too. Kind of get all that stuff down below for you. So we're just trying to get our get our camera looking good here. It's a little bit of a hazy morning, but it doesn't look too bad here. So okay, looks a little bit dark there. We went up to our pro settings. Our EV's at a -3 right now. So let's change this over the video. We were on pictures before, so photos. So now we're on video, and it's looking pretty good. Our EV now is 00. So and we're on 180 shutter, recorded at 4K 30 frames per second. So we're not the perfect shutter speed of 60 here. That would be double the 30 frames per second, but it's close enough. It should look natural. You should see a little natural motion blur, like one stop off above or below. If you need to do that to get your exposure correct, have out of here. But let's look at some of these pro settings here. Of course, there's your white balance setting up there, and you kind of don't want to go with auto all the time. One nice way is to kind of you can use auto to kind of get an idea and then take it off all to lock it in. But we're going to go completely manual here. So we're going to take a little, it was a little bit too warm before, so we're going to cool it off just a little bit here. And 53 looks pretty good. It's not too warm. And we have, you see, we're in normal color mode here. Now we're going to go over to our ISO shutter. And we're going to get our shutter down to 60 and see how that looks. That's perfect now. We're perfectly doubled our frame rate of 30 now. And it looks decent. It's giving us a slight bit of overexposure there. But, let's go to 80. And that gives us the perfect one. So, I one looked a little bit better than me, the 60. So, sometimes you'll want to kind of just test things out. So, okay. 80 puts the the compensation at at the 0 there, and 60 puts us plus 30 cents. Tell us it's going to be a little too bright there, but what we're going to do is we're going to record doing both ways, and we'll see how it looks. On the because I'm at the beach now, so it's hard for me to see the slight variations in the exposure change, even on this controller with a 700 nit screen. But when I get at home and look at it in the computer, I will be able to see what the proper exposure was, or the proper exposure for me anyways. Okay, so now we did that one at 60. So now we're going to bump it up to 80, a little bit darker here, and see if that looks better here. So we're going to do a couple short clips here. So we'll do the, kind of the same run here. We're going a little bit further here, but it's going to be the same kind of exposure coming at us here. And you can tap that. I'm tapping the focus there, and so get us a good sharp focus there. So this is the berm, or the dune as they call it here. I'm flying over, and it's kind of a no walk zone, no. So you're gonna find nobody on the berm. Now you got to watch a crosswalk. So I'm being real careful. Nobody's coming to crosswalks there, but the berm, you're kind of safe to fly over, since it's a place where people aren't allowed to, to play, frolic, whatever, at the beach here. So, okay, so we've got, I think, enough video at the, enough video here near the 80 frames here. So let's go a little bit further. Let's get ready to stop her down. You see the RC there. I'm getting the orange now, so I'm at 1897. I'm seeing my first orange and seeing 2 bars. So it's telling me the signal's getting weaker there. So be aware of that. Now, I'm not flying that high. If I was to bump it up a little higher, which maybe I'll do here, we'll get a little higher and get a little bit of signal back, hopefully. You saw that I think I saw like a little glitch there in the screen. Okay, so we'll take it up. We were just at 106 now. We're up above 150, and we've gone now. The orange is completely gone now. We're up there. It is again. So and my last shot here, I'm completely in auto, so we can compare the 2 different exposure settings I put in against the auto to see which one looked worse. So here we got a weak signal alert here. So let's go up even higher. Yeah, there we got our signal back again. So sometimes it doesn't matter height, and I'm trying to aim the controller more. The remote control more directly at the drone at this point to increase, the transmission signal too. Maybe I wasn't at the perfect angle before, so things seem to be real good here. We got 29 satellites, so we're in good shape there. So I think a combination of me raising the drone and being more directional as far as how I'm pointing the remote controller at the drone has helped bring that signal back. So, because now we got a strong wind warning. That's another reason you don't want to go up too high here. Now, it's always gusty, windy down here at the shore, and we got too high there. We got the drone detected those winds up there. So, so now we brought back down a little bit, and the wind warning is going away. Look at our histogram on the left there. See how that's kind of right in the middle there? So that's a pretty good histogram right there. You got your shadows on the left and your highlights on the, I got myself mixed up there. Yeah, shadows on the left, highlights on the right, and neither one is like, spiking or whatever. So, we look pretty good on the histogram. So, okay, let's come back and shoot some more auto video here and see how that compares to what our pro settings were. All right, so let's stop that video for right now, and maybe we'll do a little. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to do a little point of interest, orbiting here, and see if that taxes the processor and causes the app to crash, freeze, stutter. And if we see any irregularities while we're doing that, this point of interest orbit here, this completely automated orbit. And remember, folks, we're also doing a screen recording at the same time. So we're putting a lot on that processor. We're going to see if this, if we see anything wrong here. So, okay, we're doing the orbit. So far, so good. It's got the building. That's a place called Allen House, big condo building there. So, everything looks pretty darn good to me, as far as, of course, no freezing. I don't see any stuttering, and the app certainly hasn't crashed. So yeah, so far, this looks pretty good. Now, I wasn't having these issues before. A lot of people were. I remember having the issues I just described before. So mine, that full disclosure there, mine was kind of working good even before this firmware update. But you never know. You want to test these things because sometimes the firmware updates can bring new problems or new issues or whatever. So, alrighty, so that worked well. So, okay, we tested out the. That's a whole feature of things there you can bring up when you draw the box. You got the point of interest, active track. It's a couple other things, and there's like 3 different things. I always forget what those. They have a name for all that stuff, but they seem to be working well. So okay, let's test the. Go into our photos here and see how the photos are doing here. Now, right there, you see what photo. You see I already have an auto exposure bracketing there, which means I'm going to take 5 brackets. Okay, we got a strong wind warning because we're still kind of up a little high here. But what I'm going to do is do a spear panoramic photo, and that's also a very intensive action here because the spear is going to take a whole bunch of photos and then kind of stitch them together. So again, it's processor intensive. So you see all the photos it's taking there. Thought you used to. Okay, you see the percentage over there. Like we're 11% now, 13. So yeah, this is another processor intensive task for the drone. Especially when you're doing a screen recording and you're in 4K and all that recording. And again, at the end, it'll stitch it together into a little, photo that you can spit out and share on social media. One you can put on like a Facebook, and people can just, move it around like a 360 photo. Pretty cool feature, really, as a matter of fact. So, okay, we're over 50% now, and you can see that little, just the camera and drone just jumping all over the place. I think it's done with its photos now. It's just putting it all together now in post here. So. Yeah, pretty neat thing. So again, I didn't see any freezing, stuttering, no app crashing, of course, no issues at all with doing the panoramic photo there. So now let's try a quick shot mode. This is called drone, probably the most famous of the quick shot modes. So again, we'll draw a box. So that's a kind of a point of interest there, and then we're going to set the distance. It's going to fly away from the object. It's going to kind of go up, back and away from it. So this, I have it set in imperial. This puts it in meters, so I, kind of never get it. I'm not a good metric person, so I don't know how far this is going to be. Probably one of those things where that's probably nothing in metric and it won't go that far. So you see, it's going up and away. And we got the wind warning again here. Should have brought lower to have it go up and away. So I think it has finished already. It's returning, yep. The one thing with the drone, it flies away and then comes back again. So we didn't set that drone to be very long away. So that wasn't a very dramatic drone at all. Sorry about that, folks. But the point is that it performed the quick shot mode and we had no issues at all with the same things I keep saying. App crashing, freezing, stuttering, any signs that anything's wrong. We didn't see any of it there when we were doing our drone shot. So, okay, we got our wind warning again there. So it must be getting windier and windier because we're getting it at lower and lower heights. So we'll get down to a distance here. I'm going to say a safe distance. I mean, I have no problems with the drone. It's flying perfectly. The gimbal's good or whatever. So, but still, we were lowered to get away from those wind warnings. So we're bringing it back along the dunes here, the berm, to where we started out at. And again, it's coming back just fine. You see it's clipping along at 23.6 miles per hour in normal flight mode. So that's good. Trying to get back to where I was, which isn't far away at all. We went, this wasn't range test or anything. You saw a little signal on the way out there and I raised it and repositioned the controller, and I got my real good signal back in again. So, but overall, it did pretty well here. as far as any signal problems. I didn't have really signal range issues at any point really with the drone, but a lot of people had bad issues with that stuff. So hopefully this, and what I've heard, this has corrected it for a lot of people that were having issues. So yeah, so we're almost back now, and trying to think if there's anything else we can test here. You see me stay at the top of the dune there, just aiming right at the drone there. So see, I think that's about completes it for this this portion of the video here. I think we got a lot tested out here to make sure that the RC is no longer having any trouble performing most of these, even the more processor intensive stuff. So we'll just kind of take it down here just a little bit. Maybe we'll try a master shot down here. Maybe we'll try it over some of these new construction here. You see that big house got the pool in the middle there. We'll kind of maybe do a master shot around this area here, because a master shot's another pretty intensive thing here, because it does a series of different movements, shots really, and puts them all together into like a little prefab video. So again, that could be pretty intensive. So let's see if we can get a master shot going here. So let me click master shot and see what's going on here now. Okay, I see the start button here is kind of I'll say grayed out for a better word, or light there. Okay, maybe I got to go higher to start a master shots. Maybe it doesn't do it from low. Now I get the wind warnings again. So it still doesn't really want to start here. I still cannot start that button. It's still not a active button. You can't see, but I'm clicking on it, and it needs to be a darker green there, not that kind of, I'm going to call it invisible green. Maybe I need to get lower. Maybe that's the problem. Get lower and closer to get started. So, and I still can't get it going. You can see me attempting to tap it. You know what I'm thinking in retrospect, that maybe I have to draw like a little box around one of these houses or something to get it going, and I did not do that. I mean, that thing there is just kind of like a exposure lock kind of focus button there. Yeah, I think I need to draw a box around one of these houses. So yeah, we will try master shots again, another test. So we'll just bring it back now, and I think that completes that portion of the testing. Go. Hello folks, and welcome back into another video on Ron Brown's YouTube channel here, where today we're going to talk about the latest RC remote controller firmware for the DJI RC controller. This is the one that fixes the map issue. I will put the numbers down below, the exact firmware number I'm talking about. And of course we're flying with the DJI Mini 3. You see I got the Start RC landing skids on this today. I did a review on this recently, and there were some reports of it not working right, falling off, and interfering with the sensors on the bottom. So we'll test that out too in this video. So let's get out there for our flight today. We got to wait for our satellites to come in here. We have the Start RC ND64 filter on also today. And that's going to help us out also, because it's really sunny out here. It's early in the morning, but it's still extremely sunny here. So this is going to be a quick test. We're going to see how the maps work today. So just waiting for those satellites to come in today. Okay, we have our home point lock. We got 17 satellites, so we're good to go here. So we're going to get this bird in the air, as Mr. Marcus Crawford would say. So we're going to do the automatic takeoff on the screen over here. Oops. And I forgot to start a screen recording. Okay, so we're screen recording now. So now we're going to start an automatic takeoff. Make sure the area is clear of anything. Not going to hit anything on takeoff. Okay, the Wi-Fi and Bluetooth signal, so we should be good to go. So let's do a Marcus Crawford style thing and bring it right up to the camera here. Usually the camera's sitting right beside him, but We're going to go up and over. All right, the purpose of this video is to check out the newest firmware for the RC has fixed the map issue. The previous firmware, and I will put all these numbers down below, kind of fixed everything else, range and app crashing and freezing, but it either did not fix the map or it made the maps, not functional. And this latest update supposedly has fixed the map. So before we get in that, let's get our camera set up here. Let's get the proper white balance here. I like to take auto off and adjust it manually here. You can auto to get you started and then, adjust it accordingly here. We made it a little bit cooler there. And then we're going to check the settings here. We're going to get it right over to our camera dials here. We're going to keep it at iOS 100, get our shutter at 60 since we're shooting at 4K 30. And maybe I like 80 a little bit better in the shutter than I did 60. We got that 0 there for our exposure value here. Now let's go in and make sure. I know my SD card is almost full here, so I'm going to format it here. Always good to format before each flight. Make sure you have maximum memory space. Of course, make sure you upload your previous flight onto your computer or tablet or however you upload your photos and videos so you don't erase them. But now I've got all the space I need here. So okay, now let's get back to that map issue. So see the map, you can see the aircraft is that blue kind of arrow thing there, and the blue dot is me standing behind. There's like a little line between me and the aircraft. So we're gonna test it out to see if it's working properly here. And it's the two components. It's this component, this is the maps, but there's also the other components. They call it like the radar or the altitude. I think DJI refers to altitude, but a lot of the end users call it radar. So you see how the arrows, the blue thing that looks like a drone is now going further out in the map. So it is moving accurately across the map. And now I'll bring it back. And see, it's even the little trail. The blue is how I went out, and the red is how I'm coming back. So it did come back to the position where it first started. So that looks very accurate at this point. I'm gonna call it the more map looking thing. And now we'll switch over to what a lot of people call the radar. And the radar, the blue arrows, of course, the drone again, and the green dot is me, and that white ad is true north. So you see on top of the the green dot, which is me, is that little arrow pointing towards the drone. So that I think that reflects the position. Maybe I have the RC. Not quite sure. We're going to do a little experimentation here. I'm going to move the drone. I'm going to fly it to the right here and see how my position is moving to the left. So that is correct. Drone's moving to the right, I'm moving to the left as far as position of the drone here. So that is perfectly accurate there. That's good to know. So then, let's see how we can test this out further here. Okay, so now I'm still going even more to the right. And the position has moved more to the left, so that's accurate. So, okay, I'm bringing it back now, and then should get that little green dot right below the drone again. Which we did, that even more so than before. Now we're going to fly left of our position, and you see my home point is changing more to the right. So again, this is working perfectly so far. Now we'll bring it back and kind of get it lined up again. So, okay, now let's try moving the drone out towards the beach more. Okay, we don't really see much of a change on the map there, except that I stay right behind it, which I should be. And that other the colored part of the screen move up and down is depending on what angle the drone is as far as the wind. So okay, this doesn't show anything as far as out or back. It only shows kind of left or right. So that's kind of makes sense. So okay, here's a little bonus footage of the ocean here, the waves lopping in today. It's going to be another hot day here at the Jersey Shore. Probably plenty of people down here later on jumping in these waves, staying cool. So, yeah. So as far as I could tell here, this thing is now, working perfectly here. It's definitely, if I had to bring the drone back to me and I had to totally rely on this, the drone would come right back to me. Now, I guess if I would flip the drone around, the position of the drone would change in the middle of the screen here. I should have did that, but, oh, look, behind me, I'm walking now. I'm moving myself. And you see how you can see the little yellow thing below the green? I think that's the home point. That yellow one is the home point, and the green is me. So I want to kind of walk on the beach here and see if how much I can change the green dot, which again is me, how much I can move it. And there you see straight ahead, there's some of the beach cleaners going by. See how they're raking the beach real nice, preparing it for all the people to come during the course of the day there. So, but yeah, let's get walking here and see if I can move that green dot close to the drone. And now see how even because I moved the controller, that little arrow is how I move. That's the direction I'm walking. So I'm walking to the left of the drone. It even knows I'm pointing there. See, the home point has become totally revealed now. So the controller, with me, it knows it's me because I have the controller in my hand. So that's the controller in the hand is a separate, different thing from home point. And of course, you could always have the drone return to home point, or you can have the drone return to the controller. So you can see the value again of this radar, knowing where you are on the map or the radar as versus the home point. Maybe for some reason you moved quite a bit, you don't want to come back to the home point. Maybe you never intend to actually go back to that original home point. So, but I'm going to walk back to the home point to where I started at, and you can see the arrow in front of the blue dot is the direction it's moving. Okay, so I pretty much got back pretty much in the same spot I took off from. So yeah, it's safe to say this radar altitude, whatever you want to call it, is working perfectly at this point on this latest firmware. So that is definitely a good thing. It seems like most of the issues have pretty much got themselves worked out here with the Mini 3 Pro. In the last, we had a couple rounds of firmware updates a few weeks ago for the aircraft. Now we've had a couple rounds of firmware updates for the aircraft, as well as the app update. So I think under the current, combination of the three different two firmwares and the drone software, the controller software, one more time, folks, the app software plus the firmware of the drone and the controller have really got this Mini 3 Pro up to where it should have been, maybe from the beginning. And so I think it's safe to, you see me walking around there, it's safe to recommend this now. I think the software, to go out and get it. If you're not having any issues at all, that's your own discretion. You see the radar now that, see how it's just pointing. I'm moving around here. So yeah, this thing's working perfectly. So I'm going to cut this video off. No more of the show here, folks. And we will, see you in the next one.